part 2 of Fortnite items that disorient players. Again, we won't be talking about items or weapons that are meant to do raw damage, but items that are meant to confuse or throw off other players in some way. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Coming up first, we have the Shadow Bomb. It was introduced in Chapter 1 Season 8 and it literally turned you into a shadow, only leaving behind some little particles that were kinda hard to see. This phase lasted for 6 seconds and it allowed you to double jump and even do wall jumps. This could be of course used to avoid combat or get out of a sticky situation a little bit easier, as you were nearly invisible but not totally. Still, it was pretty hard to see someone who had this effect. You weren't able to build or use any items during this phase, but this can of course be used to confuse players by disappearing within a split second and getting away from them, leaving them wondering where the heck you went. You can also put the stealth camo EMP from chapter 5 here because it is pretty similar, pretty much without the added movement abilities. Next up, coming from chapter 1 season 9, we have the airstrike, and it was literally just that. When you threw it, it would create this red cloud of smoke where it landed, showing you the radius of the airstrike. A loud siren would sound, and after a couple of seconds, missiles would start raining down from the sky. It does a lot of damage to structures, so there was no way you could build to protect yourself from it. You had to get completely out the way, which is why this item isn't really good in open areas, but better in more enclosed spaces where enemies would have a harder time getting out the way in time. This would definitely cause some confusion and panic. You could also throw the junk rift here at this spot as well because it pretty much has the same function, except that instead of missiles coming down, it's literally just a bunch of junk. Moving on to chapter 2 season 1, we have the Mythic goldfish, or the Mythic flopper as most would call it, and it's quite literally a trophy looking item of a flopper. You had to actually go fishing to catch this thing, and there was 1 in a million chance to get it. With this item you could throw it at people, and if you hit them they were instantly eliminated as it did 200 damage. I personally never saw this in a real game or ever had it used against me, but we can see how this can be confusing to some players. Just imagine you're in a build fight or something and you end up in the box with the other player, and next thing you know you're just back in the lobby. He didn't even shoot his weapon or anything. Come to find out, he threw a goldfish trophy at you and eliminated you instantly. This item is just too good to leave off this list. Moving on down to chapter 2 season 7, we have the Grab-itron. This is an extremely cool item to have been put in Battle Royale in my opinion, and it allowed you to simply pick up props and throw them. The bigger the item you picked up, the more damage it would do to the person it hits. This item can have many uses. For one, you could pick up large items and use them as a shield. You could also pick up an item and have your teammates stand on it to throw them far distances. And even at one point you were able to grab projectiles like grenades and rockets and be able to throw them back at the player. It could be extremely confusing to see someone just grabbing different items and throwing them at you. Moving all the way up to chapter 4 season 1, we have the Shockwave hammer. The main way it was used was as a mobility item, and it kind of lives up to its name because you could swing the hammer at the ground, launching you a far distance similar to the Shockwave grenade. However, you could also slam this thing down to do damage to structures and players, and with that, falling down from the sky and slamming a huge hammer down on someone is bound to cause some confusion and panic. Also coming in from chapter 4 season 1, we have the bush bomb, and all it does is create a big bush when you throw it down. Of course this was mainly used to hide inside of, best being used in an open grassy area or maybe even near other bushes, just anywhere where it could look natural. However, this could also be used in other strategic ways. You could throw it down and land in it to negate fall damage, or you could also throw it at other players to kind of disorient or throw them off. I would definitely be kind of thrown off if somebody just threw a big bush at me, and not gonna lie. Up next we have the wild wasp jar. This was introduced in chapter 4 season 3 and it's just a jar full of wasps. And of course we can tell how this can be used to throw off other players. When you throw this item at someone, it would break, releasing a swarm of wasps. These would attack the player, dealing 15 damage per second, causing a bit of confusion and panic. They would have to rush to get out of the affected area, allowing the fight to go a bit more in your favor. Next we have the grapple blade. It was introduced in chapter 5 season 1 and it serves as both a melee weapon and a mobility item. You could swing the blade around and do standard melee attacks to deal damage to players, and also you could grapple around using different surfaces, similar to ODM gear or Spider-Man's web shooters. The catch with this item is that you could also use it to grapple onto players as well, allowing you to get up close and personal personal really fast. Even if someone's trying to glide away, you could repeatedly grapple onto them to continue to follow them through the air. And the best part is that after using the grapple, it negates all fall damage, so you could land safely. Moving on, also from Chapter 5 Season 1, we have the Cluster Clingers. This is a clinger that whenever thrown, it would also detonate other small explosives around it. It's capable of dealing up to 150 total damage. Similar to items like the Wild Wasp Jar and Storm Flip, it causes panic in the small area that it's affected, forcing players to quickly move out the way in that sense. This small amount of panic that you cause when using items like this can be just enough to sway the fight in your favor. And last but not least, from Chapter 5 Season 2, we have the brand new Wings of Icarus. And of course, this item allowed you to fly. You were able to do barrel rolls in the sky to make you a harder target for people trying to shoot you, and you were able to use a boost to go faster. But the reason it's on the list is because you're actually also able to dive bomb people. And of course, diving straight through someone's builds and completely messing them up is sure to throw off or cause some confusion or panic for the other player. And with that, we just went over even more items that disorient other players. Since this is a part 2, I've already made a first part to this video. I try to keep it short and sweet and straight to the point. Nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoy. Be sure to hit that like button and that sub button if you did enjoy. And as always, I hope you guys have a blessed day. And since this video is a little on the shorter side, I'm gonna go ahead and let the rest of this gameplay go. It's just a little solo duo win that I got not too long ago. Hope you guys enjoy.